simple tense. So let's start. So, yesterday he walked to the train station. So here is the form of the past simple tense. He walked. So he is the subject and this is the verb. And so as a general rule, the general rule is that we use the past simple to describe an action in the past. So this is the past simple. And now let us look at the form, the positive form. I walked. You walked. He, she, or it walked. We walked. You walked. And they walked. So if we look at this in more detail, then this is the form. We have the subject and then the verb in the past simple form. Alright? Now walk, this is a regular verb, and the regular verbs we simply add the letters ed to the base verb. Alright, so if it is a regular verb, we simply add ed to the verb. Alright. Now let us look at the past simple form for other verbs, because not all verbs are regular. So the spelling rules for the past simple form, well, first of all, the easy ones are the ed, the easy ones are the regular verbs, like walk. So we simply add ed. So walk, walked, clean, cleaned. Those are just two examples. For regular verbs which end in a silent e, then we just add a letter D. Okay, we do not add ed because there is already an E at the end. Example, die, died. Close, closed. And many others. And for regular verbs ending in a consonant and then the letter Y, we change the Y to I and then add ed. Hurry, hurried. Carry, carried. So we can see here, we remove the letter Y and we change it to an I and then we add ed. And for other regular verbs which end in a vowel and then the letter Y, then we simply add ed. It is just like a regular verb. For example, stay, stayed. Play, played. For example, stay, stayed. Play, played.
Dari sini sudah jelas anak-anak, kalau kita mau membentuk simple past tense, cara mudahnya dengan menambah ed. Contoh, walk ini menjadi walk tambah ed walked. Clean menjadi cleaned. Ini tambah ed yang simpelnya. Tapi kalau misalnya ada ini dan nya ini tidak terlalu dibaca secara vulgar, jadi nya ini langsung tambah d, jadi tidak ada d i e d, jadi nya cuma cukup satu. Die menjadi died, close menjadi closed. Tapi kalau misalnya akhirannya y, kalau akhirannya y, tapi sebelum y ini adalah konsonan, katanya nih, lihat nih, ini y dan r adalah konsonan, maka y-nya ini, lihat ini, berubah menjadi i dulu. Ingat ya, kalau y sebelum y itu adalah konsonan, dan di sini kasusnya adalah r, ya. Hurry, milih Harriet, carry, milih Carriet. Jadi di sini y-nya tidak ada ya, ganti dulu y-nya. Kecuali di sini sebelum y-nya adalah vokal, huruf hidup, a, i, u, e, o. Y huruf sebelumnya adalah huruf hidup, maka y-nya tidak berubah, tetap stay it, play it.
And some more rules. For a regular verb which has one syllable and ends in a consonant, a vowel, and then another consonant, we double the consonant and then we add ed. So stop, stopped, plan, planned. So we see here, we double the letter N and then we add ed. If it is a regular verb with more than one syllable and which ends in a consonant, vowel and consonant, then we double the final consonant only if the final syllable is stressed, and then we add ed. So prefer becomes preferred, and regret becomes regretted. And you can see here we stress the final syllable. When we say prefer, we say prefer. So that is why we double the consonant and we add ed. It's the same with regret. With regret, we stress the last syllable, the final syllable. That is why we double a consonant and add ed. And if the final syllable is not stressed, then we simply add ed. So, for example, transfer. Transfer, we stress the first syllable. So we do not stress the final syllable, and so we just add ed. We do not double the consonant. For verbs ending in a letter L, we always double the L and add ed. For example, cancel, cancelled, travel, travelled. Now this is a rule only for British English. Okay, so in British English we always double the letter L and add ed. But American English, we follow the rules above. So in American English, for a verb that ends in L, we follow this rule here. So we look at the final syllable to see if it is stressed, and if it is, we double the final consonant and then add ed. And if it isn't, we just add ed. So, example, in American English, cancel is cancelled, and travel is travelled, without the double consonant. And it is because the first syllable is stressed. Okay? So those are the rules. Now, irregular verbs. There are no rules really for irregular verbs. You just have to learn them, I'm afraid. There are no rules. You just have to learn irregular verbs and the four verbs. Okay? So those are the rules.
Baik, di sini sudah jelas kalau misalnya dia satu silabel untuk yang regular verbnya tadi ya, yang diakhiri konsonan atau huruf mati, terus vowel, terus konsonan lagi, ini konsonannya TOP konsonan, hidup konsonan. Double the consonant and add ed. Jadi di double dulu konsonannya yang terakhir ini n-nya dengan p-nya nih, terus tambah ed. Contoh stop, stopped, plant, planet. Oke? Terus bagaimana kalau misalnya dia kalau lebih dari satu silabel, lebih dari satu suku kata? Prefer, regret contohnya. Tetap sama r-nya di double. Oke ya. Dengan ketentuan kalau misalnya yang ujungnya ini lebih di stress atau dititik beratkan, prefer, regret. Jadi kita lebih ke fair-nya ini, great-nya ya, red-nya ini. Terus kecuali dia yang transnya, contoh di sini yang transnya ini yang di stresskan atau titik beratkan, transfer. Jadi fair-nya ini cuma pelengkap istilahnya untuk memperjelas transfer. Jadi transfer tanpa menjadikan yang akhiran ini jadi double. Tidak ada R2 di sini. Ya. Dan kalau misalnya dia pakai bahasa Inggris yang British, kalau akhirannya L, maka semuanya itu harus di double. Cancel, travel. Kecuali yang Amerika mengikuti yang sini, yang atas ini. Cancel dengan travel, ya kan? Cancel, travel. Secara pronunciation-nya atau pengucapannya ya tidak jauh beda ya. Oke, kita lanjut.
The first syllable is stressed. Okay? So those are the rules. Now, irregular verbs. There are no rules really for irregular verbs. You just have to learn them, I'm afraid. There are no rules. You just have to learn irregular verbs and the form of the past simple. So here is a list of some very common irregular verbs. So very quickly for the pronunciation, break. This column is the infinitive, and this is the past simple form. So break, broke, buy, bought, choose, chose, come, came, do, did, drink, drank, eat, ate, go, went, have, had, make, made, run, ran, say, said, see, saw, think, thought, and many more. These are just a few examples. So every time you learn a new verb, look it up in the dictionary and learn the past simple form. Okay?
Baik, di sini yang irregular atau tidak beraturan. Tadi yang sederhananya adalah yang beraturan, tambah d atau ed di ujungnya. Tapi yang ini tidak beraturan. Tadi sudah dicontohkan dari kata-kata yang verb biasa ini, buy, do, come, eat, go, make, say, see, dan semuanya ini dan banyak lagi. Kalian biasa temukan kata-kata ini biasanya di tengah-tengah dari kamus. Jadi ini tidak ada kata lain, kalian pelajari dan dihafalkan. Ya, ini yang regular, yang ini verbnya, yang ini pastnya, past simple-nya ya. Oke, lanjut.
The negative. This morning I did not clean my teeth. I did not clean my teeth. I did not clean. You did not clean. He, she, or it did not clean. We did not clean. You did not clean. And they did not clean. So, in more detail, this is the form of the negative. It's the subject, followed by did not, and then the verb in the infinitive form. Okay, this is very important. This verb, this is the infinitive form, the base form. Okay, so this is the important word, did not, followed by the infinitive. So here, this morning I did not clean my teeth. This is wrong. Okay, this is the past simple form, but that is wrong because in the negative it must be the infinitive form. Okay, that is wrong. This one is right, the infinitive.
Ini adalah contoh yang kalimat negatif. Kalimat negatif ini biasanya dan harusnya diikuti atau ditandai dengan did not ini. Setelah ada did not, di sini yang verbnya ini jangan ikut-ikutan yang verb kedua. Kenapa, Pak? Karena di sini sudah ada did yang harusnya do. Tapi di sini udah ada did. Jadi di sini bentuk pertama. Contohnya di sini nih. This morning I did not clean my teeth. Di sini clean-nya ed salah. Oke? Karena di sini udah ada did. Di sini harus bare infinitive. Oke? Atau I did not clean my teeth. Ini benar nih. Yang ini salah ya. Kenapa, Pak? Karena di sini udah ada did dan ini adalah bentuk dari negatif. Ada not-nya nih, not, not. Oke, kita lanjut.
And we can either say did not, we can say did not, or we can say didn't. Didn't. This is the contracted form of did not.
Did not ini bisa dipendekkan menjadi didn't atau didn't. Oke? Jadi did not boleh dipendekkan jadi didn't. Kalian jangan sampai nanti bingung kalau ada kata ini karena ini pendekan atau kependekan dari did not. Didn't kependekan dari did not.
So, example, we can say, I didn't clean, you didn't clean. The meaning is the same, and we often use the contracted form in spoken English when we speak. The question form. Did you close the door? So this is the question form. Did I close? Did you close? Did he, she, it close? Did we close? Did you close? Did they close? So did, the subject, and again the verb in the infinitive form. So the important word is did at the beginning of the sentence, the subject, and the verb in the infinitive form. And again, this is wrong because this is the past simple form. And we see here the question form must take the infinitive form. So that is wrong. And that is right. That is correct. Okay, so this is the question form.
Ini adalah bentuk tanya atau kalimat tanya. Jadi, untuk yang past tense, past simple, kita kalau mau bertanya untuk khusus yang ada verbal ya, yaitu adalah harus pakai did dulu. Did tambah subjek, tergantung subjeknya. Apa subjeknya? Apakah kamu, apakah saya, apakah mereka? Akhirnya did I, did you, did he, did she, did it, did we, did you, did they. Terus di sini harus infinitive. Di sini dicontohkan close, tutup. Apakah kamu menutup pintunya? Did you close the door? Atau did you close the door? Ini salah. Kenapa salah? Sudah ada did, ada ed lagi. Salah. Lanjut.
And that is right. That is correct. Okay, so this is the question form. The verb to be. This is an exception. This is very, very important because we use this in lots of other verbs. So the affirmative, I was, you were, he, she, it was, we were, you were, and they were. So we can see, for the first time, the verb to be is the only verb where the form is different for each subject. Example. So we say I was and he was, and all the others we say were. Okay, so that is very important. And the negative, I was not, or this is the contracted form, I wasn't. You were not, you weren't, he, she, it was not, or wasn't. We were not, we weren't. You were not, you weren't. They were not, they weren't. And the same. Here is what these two take the form was, and the others were. The question, was I? Were you? Was he, she, it? Were we? Were you? And were they? So again, this is different as well. The verb to be, in the question form, we do not say did. Okay, regular verbs, remember, we said did. but for the verb to be, we simply reverse the order of the words. So I was is was I. You were you. So we change the order of the words. Was and were. So very, very important. You must learn all of these.
Baik, ini contoh yang kita pakai to be. To be itu ada 3. Kalau untuk yang bukan past tense, yaitu is, am, are. Tapi untuk yang sudah lewat-lewat atau past tense, kita ada 2 saja, yaitu was dengan were. Jadi harus dihafal nih. I was, he, she, it, was. 2 aja. Tapi yang lainnya itu pakai were. You were, we were, you, ya we were, you di sini kamu ya, you di sini kalian. You were dengan they were. Baik, itu untuk yang positif atau afirmatif. Negatifnya I was not atau I wasn't, ini bentuk dari pendeknya ya. Was not jadi wasn't. You were not jadi you weren't. He was not jadi he wasn't. He were not, he weren't. You were not, you weren't, and they were not, they weren't. Itu negatifnya. Tambah not aja. Tambah I was not. You were not. Tambah not aja negatifnya. Terus yang pertanyaannya, terus dimulai dari kata tanya ini tadi, was dengan were. Ini untuk yang to be. Contohnya gini. Saya pelajar tahun lalu. Misalnya sekarang saya tuh bukan pelajar lagi. Di situ tidak pakai did tadi, tidak pakai go kata kerja atau tidak pakai kata kerja lainnya. Kan pelajar tuh. Pelajar adalah kata benda. Saya pelajar. Saya adalah pelajar tahun lalu. Jadi I was a student last year. I was a student last year. Saya pelajar tahun lalu. Udah lewat. Bagaimana kalau mereka? Mereka dokter tahun lalu misalnya. Kita contohkan tahun lalu karena udah lewat ya. Mereka dokter. Jadi they were doctors last year. Ya. Tapi apakah mereka dokter atau apakah kamu seorang pelajar tahun lalu? Jadi were you a student last year? Were you a student last year? Gitu ya. Okay.
All of these. So when do we use the past simple? Well, the first use is for a completed action in the past. So an action that started and finished at a specific time in the past. Last night I watched television. I played football 3 days ago.
Ini maksudnya kejadian yang sudah terjadi, dah dimulai dan selesai pada waktu tertentu yang sudah lewat. Contoh, semalam saya menonton TV. Jadi jelas di sini semalam udah lewat, saya menonton TV. Jadi cuma cerita. I played football 3 days ago. Saya bermain football, sepak bola 3 hari lalu. Sudah dimulai, sudah juga selesai. Jadi I played football 3 days ago. Di sini ingat player, watch. Ini tidak pakai play biasa, watch biasa. Karena dia sudah lewat tambah ed. Ini karena dia regular verb ya. Oke.
So in red, this is the past simple. The past simple. And in blue, these are time expressions. These are time expressions which represent